What's up, guys? Peace. How's it going? Let's talk about and discuss NXT New Year's Evil for January the 10th, 2023. This was a very solid, fun show, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really, truly did. There was one fuck up that Shawn Michaels did. Other than that, everything else on the show was fun. I loved it. Everything else was fun. The only mistake was the Bron Breakker Grayson Waller match. That was the only downfall, the only mistake. Other than that, everything else was great. I loved it. All right. So, let's go ahead and get into the show. So, we kicked the show off with a Chase U segment. So, Andre Chase, he welcomes his new students to a new semester. He says everyone gets a second chance. Chase says tonight Tomer gets to watch New Year's Evil. Chase goes over tonight's matches, breaks them down. He dismisses a student for bringing up negative energy and cussed him out. Around Thea Hale, who has the biggest match of her career tonight in the 20-woman battle royal. So, Hale, she doubts herself, but Chase believes in her and says she has the heart. And then Chase U believes she can do it. Chase U believes she can do it. They get behind her. So, Thea gets extremely hyped up, and a Thea chant breaks out. And we kick the show off with the first match of the night, that being Tony D'Angelo versus Dijak. So, Dijak wins via Feast Your Eyes. No, via a big boot. For whatever reason, towards the end of the match, Stacks gets involved. He gets in front of Tony, and he attempts to charge Dijak. So Tony D grabs him and says something about how Stacks isn't the boss of the family. Tony is. So Tony kisses Stacks on the back of the head and shoves him to save him. And then, Dijak does the big boot for the win. Interesting stuff. I want to say, I don't know what they're going to do with Tony D and Stacks. I really don't. They need to add someone else to the family. I don't know what the fuck happened. I really don't. So, I guess there's that. Oh, and Wesley was out there on commentary as well. So, I guess they're setting up for Dijak and Wesley next. That'll probably happen within a couple weeks. If not, it'll probably happen at Vengeance Day, which I don't think that would really, need to happen. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Moving on. Toxic Attraction. They're backstage. So they go on about about making Roxanne Perez pay for what she did to them. They also go on about winning tonight's Battle Royal and says it'll be like two cage beasts unshackled and let into the wild. So Mackenzie asks what happens as the match comes down to both of them. And then they say that they're going to be announced as the winners because they're a team. Next, Indishir versus the Creed brothers. So Julius and Brutus, they're in the ring. Out comes Sangha. Sangha gets on the mic and he's got something to say. The Creeds, they don't want to hear it. So Sangha says Veer isn't here, but he plans on honoring the match anyway. So Julius takes the mic and says Sangha has talked about fighting and respect. And then out of nowhere, my boy, Jinder fucking Mahal shows up and takes out the Creed brothers. And I fucking love this. I love this, man. Really, really good fucking shit here. I am so glad that Jinder is being paired with Indus. This fucking kicks ass. This is great. This is fantastic. I love this. Literally. This is good shit. This is great. And there were even a couple Jinder chants as well that broke out. That was fucking cool right there. So Sangha and Jinder, they take out Brutus by doing a choke slam. And they also throw him into the steel steps. And Jinder hits the Colossus on Julius. And both Jinder and Sangha, they pose and celebrate. Jinder takes the mic and says Veer and Sangha fight for respect, but he doesn't. So that was fucking great. I loved it. Loved it. I'm so glad that Jinder Mahal is in NXT. And this is what I think needs to happen. That if there aren't any plans for you on the main roster, you should be able to come down to NXT for a while to find yourself, to find your footing again. I mean, this would be tremendous for Mustafa Ali or possibly, Alpha Academy to expand the tag division in NXT. That would be great as well. I mean, so, guys that are on the main roster just floundering and eating and catering, not doing shit, they could come down to NXT. Next, Pretty Deadly, they're backstage talking about how close they are to a title win. And then the New Day, they interrupt. They say the previous match didn't happen. Pretty Deadly is up for their gauntlet match. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, they taunt them and make fun of them about how their hair isn't ready. But Kip and Elton, they're happy to head out. So Sangha and Jinder, they're backstage. So Valentina Perez, she interrupts and asks Sangha if this is the real him. So Jinder dips out. Sangha tells her, yes, it's him. And it's about Sangha and his brothers. So this is great. I love this. The fact that they're now a stable is great. I love it. I don't even know what they're going to even be called. Hopefully, Shanky, and we haven't seen him in a while. I don't know if he's injured or not. I know I checked the roster. He's still listed on the actual main roster. If they could actually bring him down to NXT and pair him with Jinder and Indus, that would fucking rule right there. That would fucking rule. That would be a badass faction. With Jinder and 3 big buff guys next to him, that would be fucking badass right there. It really, really would be. I'm loving this. So, basically, Sangha walks off. And then Alexa Lopez, her sexy fine ass, she walks up and she tells Valentina, yes, Sangha is all for himself, and maybe it's time for you to be all about yourself. Alexa says, great time to start is tonight in the Battle Royal, where it's every woman for herself. Then we get the gauntlet match, Pretty Deadly. So first, Pretty Deadly, they get on the mic and they say that the New Day think that they're not tough enough for the titles, so they handpick 3 of the top tag teams for the gauntlet. So the Rockers, they come out, but it's really enhancement talent, and that being Brian Williams and Jimmy Jackson. So they're billed as the Rockers, quote unquote. Kind of funny. Pretty Deadly, they defeat them via spilt milk. And then the New Day, they come out and say, nah, it's not going down like this. They figured that this would happen anyway. And they're not letting Pretty Deadly slide at all. So the New Day say, we got 2 actual top tag teams. And so out comes my boys, Idris Enife and Malik Blade. So Pretty Deadly, they beat them. So there's that. Then the final team was supposed to be Briggs and Jensen. So the camera cuts backstage. So referees are attending to Briggs and Jensen. They've been attacked with steel chairs. They're laid out with pipes as well. So Pretty Deadly, they're laughing. And then out of nowhere comes my boys, Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. So this is great. And Gallus ends up winning and defeating Pretty Deadly. I like this. This is fucking awesome. The New Day versus Gallus. Sign me the fuck up. This is great. This is great. And I am a really huge fan of Pretty Deadly. I love what they've been doing as of late. But I think it is time for them to go to the main roster. They've done everything that they can do. And I think that Gallus would be great as NXT tag champs. I really, really do. Because we all know that the New Day, they're going to be in NXT for a little while, but they're not going to be in there, forever. I actually see them going back to the main roster probably sometime between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. So I don't see them staying, a long stint. But I am glad that Gallus is back, and Gallus being back and Jinder returning, this is great. I love it. So Julius and Ivy Nile, they're having some back and forth words. Julius is pissed off, so they're back and forth arguing. So Brutus, he's being checked out. Julius says he's sick and tired of being jumped. He's not good, and he wants to send a message. Julius doesn't care if Jinder is a former WWE champion, and he doesn't care if he's back. Ivy tells him to stop or he'll be in there with his brother. She asks, when will you guys listen? Julius stresses that there's no moving on from these guys, but he is listening. Ivy says she's got to go get ready for her battle royal, and Julius says he has to go get a match made. So that's pretty cool. I do like this. I'm guessing there's going to be a breakup between Ivy and the Creeds. It kind of needs to happen, and I do like, Ivy with the Creeds. I like Diamond Mine, but it's kind of ran its course. It's time for them to do something else. I would love to see Ivy in a singles run. I think she could be tremendous. I really, really do. Next, we had a very good segment involving him, Carmelo Hayes. I don't know. I have no idea why Carmelo Hayes calls himself him. Like, what the fuck, bro? Why does he call himself him? So we see Carmelo Hayes. He's in the diner that Apollo goes to. So he's drinking a cup of coffee. He's writing in his notepad, and we hear his thoughts. So he says that he proved last week that Apollo Crews is in his past, present, and future. He's beyond reach. Hayes says he's him. Then Trick Williams, he's got on like a little accent mask, and he says no one can see past the Trick Mellow gang, and they're chiseled out of marble and about to reach legend status. So Trick, he appears next to Hayes wearing a lucha mask. That was fucking awesome. Hayes asks what she's doing and tells him to take off the mask because he looks ridiculous. And Trick has on the shirt from last week that says Trick and Ain't Easy. I like that. So Trick he gets rid of the mask and says he can't see anything. Trick wonders how tag teams see anything under the mask. And Carmelo says he doesn't know and doesn't care. Carmelo says the NXT title has his name written on it, not Apollo's. Trick says they'll speak it into existence. And so they both dap each other up, and Hayes says he agrees, and they toast their coffee. So I'm digging that, I've got a feeling that we'll probably see Bron Breakker versus Carmelo probably at Stand and Deliver. I think that's where all things are headed. So look out for that. So we finally get the New Year's Eve. The New Year's segment that happens, and the music's playing, and it's my girl Tiffany Stratton, and so she got a boob job, so I'm fine with that. Hell yeah. So Stratton, she marches to the ring, and Stratton, she blows a kiss to the camera. So she gets on the mic and asks how we missed her, and I've missed her. I think that 2023 is going to definitely be her year for sure. I don't know if she's going to be champion, but I damn sure see her getting a massive push as we progress further into 2023. So, she then says we totally missed her, so it's not even funny. She says that all women in the locker room are sweating like disgusting pigs because NXT biggest superstar is back. She says that she can't blame them for feeling so inferior because she's a revelation. She brags about learning the business in the first 9 months better than anyone else. I kind of agree. She's watched others fail to be her and try to replace her in recent months. So I'm guessing that's a little dig to Mandy, but not really. No one has her shine, skill, or style. Tiffany says 2023 can now officially begin because she's back. I like this. I'm digging this. And like I said before, I do see her getting a really solid push this year. I don't know if she's going to be champion this year, but I really do see her getting a massive push. Like I said, I kind of want Cora Jade to be the NXT Women's Champion later on this year, and maybe have Tiffany get it, early next year or something. That's kind of like what I would do. Like, I would build up Tiffany to be a real dominant heel. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe a babyface run can work because we haven't seen her in a while. So maybe a babyface run could work. I don't know. Moving on. So KC Square, they're backstage. They're walking through the parking lot. You gotta look both ways. Dealing with that parking lot, it'll get you. Thankfully, nothing happened to him. So a cameraman, he congratulates them on their record title reign, and they say thank you. Instead, they're now coming for the men's tag team record. What the hell? Yeah, right. They're not even gonna hold them long. I mean, it's not even a division. Like, they have no tag division, period, on the main roster or in NXT. There's no tag division. So they enter the building. Out comes Tiffany Stratton. She walks past them. She gets in her car. So the camera guy wants to ask a couple questions. Stratton's like, nah. And she smacks the car. She smacks the camera guy away and gets in her car and dips out. Nice. So we then, for whatever reason, get Grayson Waller versus Bron Breakker. And this is where I got kind of pissed off at Shawn Michaels right here. He made a bad decision. So the ring ropes, they malfunctioned in this match. And I was upset about that. Heavily upset about that. So towards the end of the match, Waller, I believe that Bron does a I think he does he attempts to do a spear. But Waller, he blocks that into a big knee. So basically, Bron goes for the spear again, and he knocks Grayson out the ring. It's kind of a little bad fall, And Waller, he gets up at the count of 9. He grabs the broken rope. It's loose, and then he falls back to the floor. And so Waller's counted out. Bron wins. I'm like, what the fuck? It's bullshit. So Bron's pissed, rightfully so. He's also confused. He takes the title. So Grayson's being checked on by medics and referees. He's pissed off, and he's yelling for them to get away. And there were some bullshit chants in there and everything else, rightfully so. So Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Roxanne Perez. She's asked if she's rooting for someone in the Battle Royal. She says Cora Jade. And she's like, nah. She's just joking. She laughs. She says nobody. Anybody. She says no one. Anyone but Jade. All jokes, she says, this is a huge opportunity, and the women's roster is deep. And she goes on about potential winners, and she says she can't wait to watch. So, we get a video package of Drew Gulak, Hank Walker, and Dempsey. We get a really cool Apollo segment. So he's backstage. And he's watching the segment with Mello and Williams. So Axiom walks up. He thanks Cruz for saving him last week. Apollo says no problem. Axiom knows he has his back. So Cruz was voicing his frustration over Trick and Mello and says Hayes will never let him hear the end of last week's loss. Cruz is frustrated, and Axiom says he can't let go, let them get the best of him. So Axiom understands what's going on. He said that Trick is the most annoying person on earth. So Cruz proposes a tag match with him and Axiom next week to take on Mello and Trick Williams. So Cruz says we got some phone calls to make, and then they walk off. So next we get Charlie Dempsey versus Hank Walker. Dempsey wins, and he gets him in his submission that he's been doing. So I do like that. He is working injured, but I'm fine with it. Post-match, it almost looked like Gulak was going to turn. And I think it's going to be a slow turn, but he is going to turn on Hank Walker. I do see that coming for sure. So I like that. Moving on. Alba Fire, she's backstage with Soruka. So Alba was like, she told him that she never got her match last week. She's bummed about it. And Soruka, she agrees. So Fire says she didn't owe her anything. Plus they have the Battle Royal tonight. So Alba gets a little bit annoyed, asks if she wants the opportunity or not, raising her bat up. Soruka says yes. She'll take Alba on the offer. So she apologizes for that being Alba Fire and says that she's got a lot going on right now. She says she'll see Ruka tonight and again next week. And then Ruka says that sounds good. And then Alba Fire dips out. So I don't know if the Alba Fire Isla Dawn feud is over with just yet. I don't know. But as much as I like Alba Fire, I think it's time for her to get on the main roster. I really do. She's been there long enough. And they need to kind of push Soruka. We get a really cool vignette for Tyler Bate, who's been missing in action for, maybe 4 months? About 4.5 months? 5 months? So, he says that he's back. He's coming next week. And he says he's ready for some new challenges and to finish some old business. So, I do like that. Hopefully, they will push him this time. So, Vic, he brings up the NXT Anonymous Twitter account who had footage of KC Squared in the trainer's room. So we hear a voice of a mystery man who says that even though we don't know him, he has eyes and ears everywhere. And his latest video, we see Scripps leaving a message on Ora Mensa's bag. So, okay. So, then we get Jinder Mahal versus Julius Creed. Jinder Mahal wins via the Colossus. And Sangha gets involved towards the end of the match and and distracts Julius. So, because Julius was about to do a shooting star press. So, yeah. So, like I said, I'm digging what they're doing with Indashir and Jinder. So, we get Briggs and Jensen. They're backstage. They're still being checked on. So, they're talking to Kiana James and Fallon Henley. And so, they ask, why would Gallus do this to them? Briggs says it's because their sons are bitches. And Jensen says because they're upset about the pub rules match a while back, a few months ago. Fallon says, don't worry about it, boys. They'll take care of them. So a trainer brings an ice pack, but Briggs, he refuses it. He says to look at the shape that Jensen's in. Henley looks and jokes that she doesn't like what she sees. And James, she's tending to Jensen. They're close. So Fallon says she has a battle royal to win, so she dips out. Jensen says James better go as well. So she hesitates, but she wants to stay. To Jensen. He wishes her good luck. So then we have the 20 women battle royal, number one contender. So basically, Toxic Attraction, they win, and they do where both opponents' feet touch the floor at the same time. So they do that tired old finish, and they play everything back, and both refs are arguing back and forth. But then the other ref, he makes a decision. He brings both of them in, and they both celebrate. Then out comes Roxanne Perez, and she stares them both down and holds her title up and kind of smiles. So I'm glad that they are doing this. This is a very wise decision by Shawn Michaels. This is a great decision by him. And I'm pretty sure that Roxanne will retain anyway. And what closed the show, we got a sit down between Bron and Waller. So they're sitting at the table. So Michaels is in the middle. He says, tonight is not the way anyone wants an NXT title match to end. He says he wants a decisive winner. So Bron and Grayson, they're arguing back and forth. They save each other. Shawn tells him to save it. Shawn announces that it's going to be a steel cage at Vengeance Day. And both Bron and Waller, they argue some more. And then we go off the air. So that's pretty cool. I'm digging that. But, I didn't like the fact that we had Grayson lose via countout. That was bullshit. I feel like it should have been a decisive victory for Braun, and then they could have done the rematch at Vengeance Day. That's just what I would have done if I was booking it. All in all, New Year's Eve was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was fun. We got to see a bunch of returns, and I'm glad. The return of Gallus is nice. To see Jinder Mahal is nice as well. NXT is shaping up to be fun. And I'm loving the direction that they're going in right now. And hopefully they keep up the momentum. So on that note, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. This was a very solid show. I'm glad that Gallus is back. I'm glad Jinder Mahal is there. And I am glad that Toxic Attraction, that they won. Peace out.